Okay, so this is going to be the first lesson in the Legend of Zelda. We're trying to create the Legend of Zelda as closely as possible to the original game, but we're going to be doing it in little bits and little bits and chunks. So as you can imagine, Legend of Zelda took a long time. It was mainly programmed by really just one guy, but it's credited for 3 guys that did all the programming. Of course, there were a bunch of writers, or not bunch, but like a couple writers and so forth. But the thing I'm trying to get at, it was built by a team. Even though it was a small team, this was a very dedicated team and driven team to build a quality product. And so I caution people that think that this tutorial series is going to be a very short one in which they can build the Legend of Zelda out in 5 videos or 10 videos even. The truth is getting the basic mechanics down, and then also all the maps and all the game objects that are within every map, they require a lot of time. It's going to be it's going to be a lot of work, and I hope you're up for it because it's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to learn a whole lot, and you'll be able to apply what you learn here to create your own style RPG so that you can actually release it on the internet and not be in danger of copyright infringement or anything like that. So I think it's going to be pretty cool. So in this down below in the about or the comments or whatever, not right above the comments, you'll see that there's a link to this starter code. And basically this starter code just does this right now. It makes a black cube. And so this is going to be completely in JavaScript. We're going to do it right here in the browser. And so what does this starter script look like? So the starter script is going to look like this. Alright? And so this is what you currently have in front of you, or you're about to. And the first thing is I commented some things out because these are things we're going to do within this video. And basically what you should be able to do right now is to save and run it. And when you run it, you should get this little black box. It may look slightly bigger on your screen. It may look smaller depending on the resolution of your monitor and so forth. So I prefer to use Notepad++. It is by no means the only thing you could use. You could use regular Notepad. Okay, if you save it as all types and .html, you could conceivably just save this and open it with Chrome or your browser of choice. Now if you are going to use Notepad++, there are a few things that I would recommend. What I do is I really love Control-S, and that's going to be a basic hotkey, and so that's already done for you. But then I do Control-Shift-A, and Control-Shift-A will open up the file as it is right now in my browser. Now let's see, I don't quite remember what I did for Control-Shift-A. Okay, so I think it's right here. So we're going to modify shortcut delete macro. Okay, and click that. And if you go to main menu, you're going to see 5 open in default viewer. Now right now mine is set for Control-Shift-A. Now you can choose whatever you like. Now all you have to do is click on this and modify. Okay, and I have Control click, Shift click, and the A selected, and you can just hit OK from there, and you can close it because this is the only one we're going to change. Now you can see that there's all kinds of other macros that you can set up, but this is the only one that, you know, I've taken the time to bother with, because this is really all you really need. Okay, so just go ahead and close that and make sure that it works. Control Shift A, and it does indeed work. Okay, so the first thing that we're probably going to need here is, if you look at it, the box that's made is actually very small, and so this is going to be, or as far as I know, this is as close to the original resolution of the game. Okay, 256 by 240, and so on today's monitors and using today's you know, technology, 256 and 256 and 240 is super small. Okay, but luckily what we could do is just you know, do multiples of 2 until we get to some kind of resolution that we like. Now what that's going to do is it's going to mess up our whole sprites, because we're dealing with sprites that are based on the original resolution of the NES, and so if we're using those sprites, then we're going to have to manipulate those sprites based on the amount of change we have added to the width and height of our screen. But with JavaScript, there's always a better way. Not always, but sometimes there's a better way of doing stuff. So the better way that I have found for this tutorial series is we're going to keep it 256 and 240, and what we're going to do is we're going to say document dot body dot style dot zoom is equal to, and then here you know, play around with it, and so until it looks right on your monitor. And for me, you know, this is 288%, but you know, really I could probably go an extra 175% and make it as big as this. Okay, so 175, 3, let's go 450%. Whoa, that's not what I want. So let's go 350. And getting closer, not quite there. 300%. Oops. And now we have a screen that's filled for my browser. Okay, my resolution. Now yours, like I said, is going to be different, but this looks like a good size for mine. Okay, so my zoom is set at 300, but you can set your zoom to whatever you like. Okay, so as you see here, what we're going to do in this first video is we're just going to draw the initial first map. And the initial first map, if we were to YouTube it, so let's go to YouTube, and you'll see, so let's see here, Legend of Zelda walkthrough, and okay, so this is the first map, and this is what we are looking at recreating right here. Okay, as you have also noticed in the link below, the link below, you will find the tile map, the actual tiles that we'll use to recreate this tile map. Okay, this first level here. Or the first map. Okay, and so let's go ahead and get that into the game. So we're going to say let world tiles, completely arbitrary what you name it, is equal to new image, and here we're just going to say world tiles dot src is equal to tiles overworld .png. Okay, that's just the name of the file, and this right here indicates that this file, this image, is located in the very same folder, very same directory path as your code that you're creating right here. So right now this is at users dgateway desktop lesson 1 starter file. Okay, so it's in this folder called lesson 1, and that's exactly where this file is as well. Okay, so it's important to have those in your same directory. Now when we get later into the project, we might want to set up different folders for different parts of the project, such as all of our sprite sheets can go in a resource called images, and then all of our sounds could go into a folder called sounds, and so forth and so on. And so we'd have a folder structure, and then we would have to add some extra stuff to the beginning of this so that it would know which path to go down to find that image. But that's what that looks like right there. Okay, and so what we want to do right now is we also have this. So we talked about setting this to something close to the original, and then we looked at this FPS. Now here's the deal. I believe the Nintendo had a frames per second of 30. We have doubled it here, and it seemed to work well for me. If I were having problems, I would probably set this at 30 and try to do it as exactly like the original, just to see if that clears some things up. But 60 is seeming to work. Now, does that mean that we're going to have smoother animations than the original Zelda? No, we're going to try and do things exactly as the original did, even if our frames per second is doubled than the original. Okay, so let's look at this first map. Okay, so if we look at this first map, and I'm just going to pull it up right here. Okay, if we look at this first map and we counted how many tiles there are, well, I don't know how many are up here, but I'm going to say that there are 4. Okay, it looks reasonable. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Okay, and then if I keep on going down, I see that this is a tile. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I have a height of 15 based on just what I'm seeing. Okay, and then if I were counting across, okay, so I have a width of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we have 16 tiles across. So it's a 15 by 16 array. And it just so happens that that is probably the best way of representing this data is through this array. Okay? And so let's go ahead and set up that array. Now, let's actually, well, I guess we can set up this array. And I'm just going to call it map 77. And because in the array of the larger world map, this is the indices of where this map is located. So it's located at 77 within that larger array. Okay, so let's look at this image right here, this tiles overworld, and we know it's an array, and we'll come back to that in just a second. In fact, I'll just hit enter right there. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look at this folder here, and I'm just going to open this up in GIMP. Okay, So this tile sheet, this sprite sheet, actually makes it quite easy to redo some of the levels, or pretty much the whole overworld map. But here's the thing about the Legend of Zelda: it has been redone a few times for different systems, and some of the times the sprites have changed. Now, I am by no means a Zelda buff. I do have very fond memories of playing it a long time ago as a kid, but all I'm trying to say is that some of these tiles do not match up 100% with some of the maps on the playthroughs and so forth, okay? And it could just be that these were from a different console than what the game was played through on a speed run or whatever, and so they may not match up 100%, but they're going to be pretty close, okay? So just keep that in mind as we go through this. Just wanted to let you know. So if you come across a sprite sheet that has all the tiles, and they look exactly like the speed run, guess what? You're in luck, okay? But I didn't want to spend too much time searching for like the perfect sprite sheet. It's not that important to me. Okay, and so this is what it looks like. And if we look at this, this is done in rows of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So rows of 18. All right, and so this is 0, and this is 17, and this is 18, and this is 36. Okay, and so forth and so on. And so it makes it very easy to do a little bit of math to get the exact location of each one of these if we just list its number. Okay, if we list this number, let's say we need to use number 20. Okay, so this is 17, 18, 19, 20, so this is what we're using. And basically, what is the index of this right here based on that? Well, it is, so the row that it's on is just the number divided by 17, and then we just do a math.floor, round it down, and that gives us 1. So it's on the first row. Okay, so we know that this is the 0th row, by the way. So if you're new to programming, things start at 0, and this row right here would be at 0. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and then so based on 20, how do we get this column? So this is the 0th column, first column, second column. So if it's 20, and we do mod 17, 18, if we did mod 18, well, if we did mod 18, that would give us whatever this number is. We know it's already on the first row, this actual second row, but it's the first row after the 0th row. And if we did mod 17, then mod 17 would give us, what mod does is give us the remainder after division. So 20 divided by 17, well, we have a remainder of 3. Okay, so that would be 0, 1, 2. All right, well, if we're doing 18, then it's actually 2. Okay, 18, this would be the 0th location at 18. This would be the first one for the 19th, the first remainder, and this would be the second for the second remainder, number 20. Okay, so that's just a little bit of math that makes this spreadsheet pretty easy to use, as long as we're calling it by the correct number. Okay, and so we're going to use these sprites within the spreadsheet to create this map. Okay, so if you look at it, you can clearly see this is what we really need to focus on, these right here. And then also this little brown patch of ground right here, and we would be good. Okay, and so I know that the top there's going to be a lot of black, and I'm just going to represent it with one of these sprites. Okay, probably this one right here. And so let's look at that. I'm going to have, since we said that there are 16 across, I'm going to have 16 22s. Okay, and I'm just going to create a row of 16 22s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. This is going to be the black that is at the top of the screen that represents your heads-up display that has the hearts and stuff like that. Okay, and I know I need 4 of them, so I'm just going to copy that one that I just did and paste it out 3 more times. Okay, and then we need some more. Okay, so which ones do we need? Well, we're looking at this so this is the heads-up display, and this is where the map actually begins. So the map actually begins, and it looks like a full square of this green, whatever, green rock or whatever it is. Okay, so a full square of green rock is this right here. Okay, and so what number is this? Well, we know that this stairway right here is 18, 36, and then 36 plus 18 would be 40, 54. And then this would be, so this would be 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61. So this is 61. All right. And so we'll use that number. And so we have, notice I'm leaving a space right here. And I can imagine where there may be even more than 61. And for instance, like right down here, let's say we're down here and right here. Well, we have 8 rows essentially of 18. This is going to be a higher number than a 2-digit number. And we want our sprite map to end in the same location on the ends. Okay, and so if this were, let's say this one is a 198, that number doesn't exist, but it still matches perfectly because we have already set up the space. If we did not, and we did not want all these spaces in here, then all of a sudden we have what looks like a jagged array, even though it technically is not, but it looks trashy. We want something that looks straight, it looks smooth, and we can clearly see when we may be missing a value. If these were not straight, I would be like, oh, well, maybe I should check this one because, and it would be very quick to see which one it is. And so that's why I'm leaving this space before these 2-digit numbers. Okay, so this was 61. And if you look across, the next few are 61 as well. Okay, so that's a 61, that's a 61, that's a 61, 61, 61, 61, and so forth. And then these are 2s. They are that dirt, the beige looking dirt that we saw. Okay, and so we can do this next row, I think. Okay, so this next row is going to look like this. Okay, we had some 61s. We got our 2s, which is the dirt right here. And then we had some more 61s. Okay, And now the next row is very similar to that, except it has a cave, okay? And the cave is this 28. It's the next section of dark that is on, so this would be the 28 inside this tree mouth, okay? And then we have some more 61s, and then a 62. If you look at 62, it's just this kind of contoured rock, whatever. And some more 2s, 61, 61, 61, so forth. Okay? And so you get the idea of where they are on our map. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the rest of the map that I currently have, and I'm going to paste it in to save us some time. And so this is what the map looks like after it is complete. Okay, so we have all of our heads-up display. We have all of the walkable area that Link should be able to get to. And that's what another reason I like Notepad++ is because it makes it easy to see the paths, you know, within games, or what elements are the same within these 2D arrays. And so, you know, we can see the outline, we can see if there are any other openings, and so this makes it super easy to visualize the map once you're done with it. You're like, oh yeah, there's an entrance, there's multiple entrances to this map, so forth and so on. Okay. Okay, so the next thing that we probably want to do is we want to draw this map based on this tile sheet. Okay. And so let's go ahead and look at that. And so we're going to have more than one level. All right, so this is just one level, one map. And so we are going, but so there are some people out there that are learning JavaScript for the first time. I'm going to do many things in this tutorial series that may make you think, oh, he's doing it, it must be the right way of doing it. And that may not be true. I'm sure there's going to be some JavaScript masters out there that are going to look at this and they're going to say, that there's a better way. Okay, and in fact, I'm not even sure why he's using this let keyword. He should probably be using a const or something like that. Okay, you know, there are in JavaScript, there's a lot of ways of doing things. All right, as you watch this series, you may see things on here that you think are good practice. And if it's coming from me, it's probably not good practice, all right? But what we're going to have in the end is a finished product that looks like Zelda, okay? Whether we followed best practices or not, all right? So just wanted to get that out there. I didn't want a lot of comments about why is he using let and const, you know. What about var? Well, no one uses var anymore, do they? But I don't mind var, actually. I would use it in this code 100%. But I'm not. So let's actually, what we're going to do right now is we're going to create another function. So this function right here, this is our draw function, and basically this is like our game loop. And what this is going to do is every frame per second, it's going to do everything that's inside of these curly brackets. Okay, every frame, which works out on 60 seconds. I think it works out to 16 point whatever, I don't know, 16.66 repeating. So every 16.66 milliseconds, this code is going to run in here. Okay, and so that's all that this is doing. Now this is just a function, and without the function call, it does nothing. So down here we call it and get the draw function running, and then this repeats until we close out the application. Okay, but now we want to create a new function. We're going to create a new function and we're going to call it draw map. Okay, now this is one thing I was saying earlier. We may change this up quite a bit. In fact, in the end, we're not just going to have a single map called map77. This map is going to be part of a larger array that is the world. Okay, and so it doesn't be, and these maps, as Link moves through the world, the current map is going to be different. And so we're just going to create this function where it has a parameter that is whatever level it is on, and we're just going to use this level as our reference to whatever map he's on, okay, within this function. And so we do need to loop through this 2D array, and since it is a 2D array, we're going to use just a nested for loop. Okay, and so here we're just going to say for let I is equal to 0 while I is less than level.length. Now, so this starts I at 0, and this outer loop right here, we are talking about the rows. Okay, so at I is equal to 0, it is returning this array within this 2D array. So this is an array on its own, and it is a part of this 2D array. Okay, and so it's going to return this array. And now what we want to do is increment over the individual items of this array. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this for loop and paste it in, fix my formatting issue there, my indentation, and I'm going to change these to J. We can't use I again because it's already being used here. And the next thing we need to do is, the length of level is different than the length of level at I. Alright, so this is the level at I, and the length of level at I is 16, but the length of level is only 15. Okay, so we don't want to get these mixed up because one is different than the other. Okay, and then all we're going to do here is we're just going to use Ctx Draw Image. So Ctx is basically the context of our canvas. All right, it's basically is our canvas. All right, so we're going to say Ctx Draw Image, and draw image is going to take in a few parameters. The first parameter is going to be what image are you going to use? And so for us, we're going to use this larger sprite sheet of world images, or world tiles, world tiles. And then the second thing it wants us to know is where in world tiles are we going to draw from? Well, we want to draw this tile, this tile, this tile, this tile, this tile, and so forth. And so these are the corner of this map, which is right here, is where I want to draw this tile from. Okay, so this right here, well, my tile bar, my toolbar is in the middle of it, but so the whatever address that would be, okay, is where we want to draw from, and then we just give it a width and height. And in Zelda, most things are 16 by 16, and so this is 16 wide and 16 tall. Oh, that's why it's not doing anything. Okay, so didn't even have it maximized. So if we look at this corner and then we look right down here in the bottom left hand corner, this is the X and Y of this image where this is coming from. So this is 120.52. All right. So I need to do a little bit of math to get that number. Okay. And I'm just going to copy this and then explain it. In fact, just do this. Okay, so let's explain this out. Okay, I could have typed this out, but it's feeling pretty lazy. It's getting late. I want to do this first tutorial. I will have you know that I have pretty much about 15 to 20 tutorials worth of materials so far, and I've already started sorting them out to, you know, make the best bite-sized tutorials. And I know this is already running pretty long, but you know, I made the mistake with a game in my past, and I was like, I'm gonna do Street Fighter, and for each tutorial I programmed up to that tutorial. and so after the third one, you know, it was becoming double the amount of time to actually get a tutorial out, because I'd have to program it, and then I'd have to record it and, you know, change it up and everything. So it became a lot of work. But this one, I've already programmed it a lot out, and there's even more that I'm doing in this next month, because this is my job. I teach video game programming. And so we're doing this one in class, and so it's pretty easy to get the material for it. Okay, so what are we doing here? Well, we're getting the number at level ij. Okay, remember, this is level ij. The number right here that we are returning by saying level ij is 22, 61, 2, and so forth. And then we're saying mod 18. This was that magic number that we were getting, because it's how wide this array, or not this array, but this array is. Okay, so mod 18. We already did the math. We already figured out how we can get there. And then we multiply it by 17, okay, to get, and then we add 1, all right, and then we do the same thing to the y. We just say level ij divided by 18. Okay, so this is going to give us the row that we're on. We're going to multiply it by 17 and add 1 to it. All right, and then the width and height of this image right here. So this all goes to the sprite sheet. This is the x on the sprite sheet. This is the y on the sprite sheet. This is the width. This is the height. Now, where do we want to draw it on our screen? Well, we want to draw it at j times 16. So this is the width, this is the x, okay? And j represents the x in this. So j represents the columns, and so that represents the x. And I represents the rows, so this represents the y. And it is indeed 16 by 16. And then if you look at this, we should have 3 open curly braces and 3 closing curly braces. And now here's the thing about any programming language and Java. If you do not call it, it does not happen. Okay, so I'm going to call it down here. Put my semicolon here. And I am going to call this map77. So this is my level, my parameter that I'm passing. And I'm going to save it, run it, maximize it, and this is where we're at. We have our completed level. Okay, and so in the next tutorial, what we're going to do is we're going to draw Link, and he'll appear right where he should on this level, like right here, facing up. And we're going to make it so that he can move about this level. All right, he won't be able to move off this map, but actually he could. He'd just go to infinity. You know, he will just be able to move around this world. And so that's what we're going to do in our next tutorial, which will probably be tomorrow night or even the night after that, and then we're going to go from there. So I hope you like this. If you do like it, know that a lot of material is going to come out the next couple of weeks, next 2, 3, 4 weeks, and we should have a working Zelda game by summer. Okay. So if you do like this, go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel, and like this video so that other people can find this material. And that's it. I guess I'll see you tomorrow night.